Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And we got some exciting news that was released yesterday. There's a crypto bank coming to the Flare network. Now, this is part of the Trustline app project that's going to be built on the XRP Ledger, which is a P2P credit network and application. Then on the Flare network, there's going to be a decentralized community bank called Probity. Now, that will be along the lines of a DeFi protocol, and we're going to go into that right now. Let's go over to Twitter. So I tweeted this out yesterday about the decentralized bank coming. So we have a community bank coming to Flare network, Probity. Trustline app built on the XRP Ledger, but you could deposit your crypto into Probity on the Flare network to earn high yields and borrow decentralized stablecoin Aurei. Now, if many of you have been following my videos, you would know that about 2 weeks ago, we covered a decentralized global stablecoin and the whole concept behind that. That is all based on this. So that design that we went through in that video, and I will link it in the description below this video, and I'll have it at the end of it, so you can watch that. And that really dives into the details of what's possible with the decentralized stablecoin. I have some documentation here today and some visuals to go through to help you understand exactly what it is and how you could benefit from these type of protocols in the future. So the first thing we have to do is understand what it is, who built it. So let's see who built the Trustline app and is building this on the Flare network now. I think you'll find it very interesting. So this is on the Flare network, is the Probity bank. And it will work with the Trustline app. And I think this is really cool because the app is going to be able to pay with just text messages. So that's really an interesting feature. And this is also going to have a testnet weeks before the Flare network launch. So in the coming weeks, he says here. And I think that's exciting because right now, many of us are going through the Flare Finance beta, and that's exciting to learn it and really understand. And now we have another project launching, as in Trustline and Probity. But we also, Flare community brought up another project that speculating on, and I tend to agree with this one. It looks like Probity could possibly be another project. That is really speculation here, but it's looking possible or likely. And then we also have Gala Gaming building as well. We got Flare Finance, and then Forte Games too. They're another one who's building that token platform. And then there's another one we're going to do a video on tomorrow or on Monday about a supply chain project that I came across that looks really interesting, that's directly tied into the Flare network. But anyhow, let's get back to the Trustline here and Probity. Okay, so this is Matthew Rosnan. He started Trustline Inc. to reimagine consumer credit from the ground up. I outlined the vision that this company is building towards. So I'll link some of these in the descriptions below. And he was at, what do you say, Ripple from October 20th, 2020 to January 2021, and he managed the hosting software for financial institutions, guided banks in deploying RippleNet. And some of these were some big names. So key clients in new corridors: American Express, PNC Bank, BBV Transfers, Banco Bradesco, we have Uniteller, Tempest FX. So he's dealt with some pretty big banks here. So this is who's behind this project. Polyledger. Don't know if there's any connection to PolySign. It's not still being worked on. It was a project. It was like a digital asset management solution. And let's move on to the next tweet. Okay. So this came out about, I want to say it was about 2-3 weeks ago. So this came out right after we did the decentralized global stablecoin video. So this is documentation in the next slide we're going to go through. So Trustline released this about a week or two ago as a proposal for a new crypto stablecoin called Aurei. And Aurei is intended to be deployed on the Flare network and trustlessly issued on the XRP ledger. So now what's interesting here is what does Aurei stand for and mean? So Aurei, golden. And it comes from the reign of Marcus Aurelius. And if anyone's seen the movie Gladiator, great movie, they will know who Marcus Aurelius is, or history. So this has the representation of gold. Now, this is not fiat like regular fiat. This is pegged to fiat, backed by crypto as collateral in that Probity bank. And we're going to go through the slides here, and we can take a look at all of it. There's some good visuals here, so I'll help everyone understand a little better. All right, so we have Aurei, is how you say it. A collateralized crypto stablecoin. Now I'm going to move through. There's like 17 different pages. Aurei is a crypto stablecoin pegged to the US dollar and is engineered for payments, lending, and trading. Probity is the other piece here. It's a smart contract system responsible for minting Aurei and executing loans on behalf of depositors. So basically, a bank controlled by a smart contract. And then you have the other actor is a depositors, which would be like us, for example, one who deposits collateral into a Probity vault, allowing them to receive Aurei or earn interest. So you could deposit your crypto in here and just earn interest with it, or you could take out stablecoins. So it looks like this is going to be a very versatile setup. So if some of you are familiar with Kava, it's kind of like they combined the money market with the actual collateralized deposition together. And this works based off dynamic interest rates, which we'll get into later in this video. So then the third actor in all this would be the borrower. So one who borrows Aurei from Probity or the secondary markets. So like a bank, you have depositors, and then you have the borrowers. And then the functionality. Aurei is minted through a smart contract when cryptocurrency collateral is deposited into the Probity vault. Aurei can be issued to the depositor directly, which is a direct issuance, or Aurei can be issued to a third party, which is indirect issuance through Probity. Very interesting there. Probity lends Aurei to a borrower on behalf of the depositor, allowing the depositor to earn interest at the prevailing interest rates. So now you're going to be able to take the stablecoin and then earn interest on it. So that's where this gets really interesting with the dynamics. So it says only Probity vault owner can lend Aurei on Probity, but anyone can loan Aurei on the secondary market. So basically, you're going to be able to put your crypto in, pull out Aurei, and then lend it back to Probity. Very interesting here. Now we have price stabilization mechanisms, because remember, this Aurei stablecoin is going to need to maintain a peg to the US dollar. Now, keeping the collateral there is great, and it manages that. You know, it's always backed by that collateral. But to keep the peg is a different story. So it has this floating interest rate. Depositors are liquidity providers who set the interest rate when lending through Probity. When a loan is fulfilled, the global interest rate is updated to the rate specified in the execution loan order. Depositors start earning interest upon order execution. So they are incentivized to provide liquidity for loanable funds at rational interest rates based on Aurei demand, therefore equilibrating demand to the supply. So that's a little complicated. We don't need to understand that fully right now, but it has this dynamic system of interest rates, which is going to manage the supply and the demand. Right, and here into dynamic, devaluation and revaluation. When the Aurei marketplace crosses a deviation threshold from the target price, a scale factor is applied to the loanable funds market, either inflating or deflating the Aurei to bring supply and demand to an equilibrium at a target price. So what's interesting about this, it kind of takes the Kava and MakerDAO methods of open market operations. There's a little extra supply of Aurei that is outside of just those who issued it to themselves by putting in crypto as collateral. And that's what allows it to find this target price, which is $1. And now the governance. I think we might have another token. So be on the lookout. Governance. The Trustline Credit Network token is the governance token for the system. Holders vote on risk parameters and improvements to the system. The token plays a role in last resort recapitalization of the system. In compensation, TCN token holders earn rewards based on a fixed percent of system loan interest. So you could think the Maker token or the Kava token. That's basically what this is going to be, a governance token for the whole Trustline Credit Network. So out of this, there's going to be two new tokens. We got the Aurei stablecoin and the Trustline Credit Network token. So I did warn everyone, get used to a barrage of new tokens coming. Hey, it's just more money for us to make. And that's how we got to look at it. That's not financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. But it's something we need to be aware of if we're in this market. The collateralization ratio. And this is important. I guess I didn't say it earlier. The Aurei stablecoin is backed by FXRP, which is XRP on the Flare network. So it's, say the collateralization ratio is 150%. So you could put in $150 worth of FXRP and you could pull out 100. They do it a little different here, but the concept's the same. If the value of the collateral falls below this ratio, the collateral will be automatically liquidated. So you do have to keep your collateral up. But what's great about this whole system, and there'll be services on top to manage it for you and other things, but the concept is still is at the heart is the same, but there's added dynamic functionality to this whole system. And I think it's really built design-wise because Flare Network has the Oracle system. So all these projects being built have the ability to interact directly with those oracles and the price feeds for FXRP. It needs to manage the price of XRP to USD to know that collateral ratio at all times. It doesn't need to count on Chainlink or some single point of failure outside the network. It's built into the network, and that's why the Flare Time Series Oracle is a revolutionary design. And it's going to allow these projects to always be trusted. And you'll see more institutional money coming that way, and you'll see more investors and just value pour in because you could trust the price feeds no matter what. Now, we get into some details here about the interest rates, which is pretty interesting. The primary exchange is an on-chain system where dealers buy and sell Aurei at the spot rate. So it's basically saying an on-chain system is a DEX. That's what they're pretty much getting at here, is a decentralized exchange. But he said the order books are off-chain and vault owners specify a limit price in the form of an interest rate. And that's very interesting. We're talking like bond market type design here. With these interest rates, this is really similar to certain aspects of the traditional markets with the bonds. And it also has the decentralized nature of it. But the dynamic interest rate, if you see here, the bid and the asks are actually in interest rates. So it's very similar to like bonds. Now, system interest rate. The system interest rate adjusts for every order execution. The on-chain smart contract settles each loan order by sending the agreed amount of Aurei to the buyer and updates the global interest rate in the same transaction. Thus, the global interest rate is determined solely by the free market. So this whole system is built in a decentralized manner. So the free market is going to decide how the interest rate plays out. And then the different market participants or actors, as they call them. You have the dealers, who would be kind of like your market makers or institutional side. And then you would have your liquidity providers, which could be us, or collateral. We're depositors. So we could deposit our crypto or FXRP in there and then earn from this in different ways. And the interest rate will be dependent on how the dynamic of all those actors come together. All right, moving on. We're almost done. Rate history. Historical rates can be queried from the executed trade data by order sequence, number, or by timestamp. The historical rates are used to calculate the cumulative rate for any loan, to calculate the continuously compounded interest. There we go again with compounded interest. We take time in discrete 1-second intervals. Very interesting here. So this, we'll go into this further when more information comes out. Cumulative rate. The cumulative rate of Aurei loan through the primary market can be defined by a mathematical notion. All right, they get into some technicals here. We'll skip through this. Total debt of the loan. So thinking like this is along the lines of like a crypto bond kind of, but it's in the form of crypto on the network, decentralized way. It's very different from like traditional markets do it. This is for this stablecoin. Loanable funds market. Since funds are allocated using an order book, supply and demand move the interest rate in a manner similar to any other market. Very interesting here. Again, I'm just like very amazed at the details of how this design has that dynamic features to it, unlike some other protocols that are out there. This takes more cues from the traditional market with bonds than it does from some of those other projects that you see that it's just all about just farming and yield and this. This is meant to create a dynamic between depositors, borrowers, and then the stablecoin based on the interest rate. Because we're going to need credit in the future. And this Trustline app will allow the under-collateralized credit on the XRP ledger, because you could have your trust network where if you have your group of family or friends or partners, whoever it is that you trust, you could say, you loan them, $500 and then you pay me at the end of the month. That can be done on the Trustline app. And then that's going to work with this side, with the collateral side, and then all come together. So I think the design is going to be very different from anything else that's out there, because the XRP ledger is a credit network. It has these trust lines built into it, into the accounts. And then we're going to have our identities built into there with PayString. And we're going to show that, because that's really, I'm still working on this PolySign video. I keep finding more and more information. I'm hopeful to have it out in the next few days, but it's just getting longer and longer and longer. So just bear with me with that. But when it comes out, it's going to be really exciting. I mean, we got some really good details here. Exactly pretty much what's going on. Aurei supply, outstanding. Aurei has been issued through Probity, the primary market. Then we have the unallocated supply, Aurei that has been minted by the system, but sitting on an order. Very interesting. I think they said it in one of these. Is it this one? Oh, here it is. An amount of unallocated Aurei exists in the system in a portion to the sell side order book liquidity. So there's always going to be like a wall there of the unallocated Aurei to maintain the system. Very interesting. I mean, I think the design is really cool. This talks about how it pretty much gets the price peg stabilized, a scenario. So I'm going to post this PDF in the description below. And now let's move on to the Trustline network here, which is really interesting. Now, this is built by the Ripple integration engineer. And Probity is part of the Trustline Credit Network, which looks like it's going to have its own governance token. I'm not sure, because I know somebody's going to ask, how we're going to be able to obtain that token. There's no details yet. We will find out. But this is all integrated with PayString. And PayString is coming. We're going to see that very soon. And we're all going to probably have to get one, and so you'll be able to use all these different apps and projects. Maybe not everything, but it's going to come out soon. Create an account, choose a PayString for Trustline app, verify your phone number. So that connects here. And now what's interesting is pay anyone in your community who has an app with mutual credit or direct debit. So that's basically an IOU to somebody. and you could settle your debts. This is what's interesting here with XRP. Now with USDF, that's Aurei. All right, so this was just what they were calling it in the beginning, but it's Aurei. So which is basically FXRP because that's what it's backed with. So you're gonna pay him with XRP or with a stablecoin backed by XRP. So accept payments, and then you could receive IOUs and receive debt repayments in XRP or USDF, which is Aurei. And now this says your gateway to DeFi. Trustline app is P2P payments and lending. There's one more down here, I think. Oh, here we go. Why use Trustline? So, no application required. Leverages your social network to vouch for your credit worthiness. And it uses the native XRP ledger and Flare network features from your smartphone. Track your accounts in one app. Using a credit card costs usually 3% in P2P payments, but your credit is free with Trustline. And that's the one thing about the XRP ledger, no high gas fees because there is no gas. And on the Flare network, there's no high gas fees because it's just the governance has it set at a lower amount already. So this is a first example that we're seeing that's going to utilize both networks. And many of you have watched the videos that I've shown or you've seen of Hugo Filion from Flare Network talking about the stablecoin that could come over to the XRP ledger. So this is what that is. This is the decentralized global stablecoin that I was talking about. So I want everyone to know, like, I already knew that when I was doing that video because I spoke to him that this was coming out and that diagram was based on this. So this isn't speculation. So when I'm doing these videos, I'm researching hours. I'm not just throwing things out here that are just maybes and baseless. I know they're happening because we have the information and the facts. And it's not dot connecting. We're dot connecting things that are real and we're confirming. I know there's a lot of speculation out there and people throw that out, but I do everything here on this channel and the DeFi standard and the website. We do everything that's based on fact. And it will always be that way, and we'll speculate from there. So I want everyone to know that because there's going to be a lot of projects coming out in the future, a lot of different tokens. So you really need to follow the facts at their core because speculation sometimes could lead you down a really dark path and then you get lost. Just like how, XRP is never going to be for retail. I mean, this just splatters a big bucket of cold water all over that idea. So this is for you to use P2P decentralized networks, stable coins backed by XRP. You using XRP. The ledger is for you. Once again, so that Orwellian ideology, I know there's many people who have this continuously because I see it in the comments. The facts, decentralized digital identity is coming. It's already here, beyond here. And PayString is going to allow for that. You're going to get more privacy. You're not going to have all the data collection. And the whole control thing, you really can't stop software. So software is going to eat the world. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.